and whether your dog has Malassezia or Candida. That alone is going to determine how we're going to treat it. First thing we're going to do, stop feeding the yeast.
All right, guys, there's two main types of allergens in dog food. There's animal-based and plant-based. We're going to concentrate on animal-based first. First one you're going to notice the most is going to be chicken, and then the other one, beef. One on this list, as far as the most common allergen, is chicken and beef. And that's because of all the steroids and hormones that they put into the chicken and beef. Now keep in mind, any animal allergen can actually activate allergies in your dog. It could be something else. For example, lamb, okay? Lamb is another source of protein that could also trigger allergies in your dog. For this, you're either gonna have to do an allergy test at your veterinarian, or you're just gonna have to test foods out. Now, I will say this, if you're able to feed chicken, beef, or lamb during the winter time, and in the summertime your dog breaks out, obviously your dog is not allergic to any one of those proteins, is allergic to something else in the bag. Another allergen that is prevalent is meal. Anytime you see meal, whether it's meat, chicken, I don't care what, all it means is a low-grade protein. This causes your dog's immune system to not work properly, and thus it can lead to an outbreak of yeast. The other thing you want to make sure you don't feed your dog so you don't feed the yeast is corn. Corn and rice are two things that actually feed yeast. The others are wheat, potato, and anything else that is of high sugar. For example, beet pulp. That's high sugar. Aside from the meat meal, another thing that could actually be causing allergies big time in your dogs is anything that says byproduct. In this case, it says chicken byproduct meal. So you can only imagine, is it the beak? Is it the toenail? Is it the feather? Unfortunately, you're gonna find these ingredients a lot in cheaper kibbles, omega-6 fatty acids. Now, don't get me wrong, your dogs need it, but they just don't need too much of it. Omega-3 is the one that's actually going to help your dogs fight this thing. Here's another reason why I stay away from Pedigree. If you notice, their first ingredient is whole grain corn, meat and bone meal, right? Soybean meal, that's another thing you want to stay away from. Whole grain wheat is another grain you want to stay away from. This will cause allergies on your dogs. Another thing causing allergies on your dogs will be flavoring. Another thing you want to make sure is not in your kibble that you're feeding your dogs is BHA. Not only has it shown to cause cancer in lab animals like rats that they feed this to, but in addition, it could also create sensitivity. Now that we've gone over the basic ingredients that are actually feeding yeast inside of your dog, there's something else that kibble companies don't want you to know about. You see, kibble must sustain shelf life. In order to be able to do this, kibble companies must cook kibble at a very high temperature using a machine called the protruder. The problem you have with that is that the higher the temperature, the more the vitamins denature. Now, you will have some kibble companies that say that they're baking their kibble and therefore they're cooking at lower temperatures for more time. And true enough, their vitamins may be more accessible, but I've found is nearly not enough. This is important because if your dog is lacking vitamins such as vitamin A, vitamin E, vitamin C, it will lead to flaky, brittle coats. One little scratch can become a very complicated infection and even lead to high vet bills. Some vitamins such as vitamin C begin to oxidate just by the fact of touching air. So the longer the kibble's on the shelf, the less bioavailable it becomes, meaning your dog is getting less of what you're already paying for. This is why we use Nuvet and NuJoint DS. Nuvet is the multivitamin, and NuJoint is also going to give you joint support. A lot of these ingredients in kibble that I showed you that cause inflammation will lead to complications in other areas of your dog's body, such as joints. So if you have dogs walking around east-westy or even having joint issues, if you're feeding the type of kibble that's got the ingredients we showed you, now you know where your problem is coming from. Is it enough to just change the kibble? Not really. I just explained to you. Because it is cooked in a particular manner, most of the ingredients in kibble, since it's meant to hold long shelf life, get denatured. The beauty of NuVet is that the very vitamins and minerals that get denatured in the process of making kibble are actually there and completely bioavailable. The thing about NuVet is you can't buy this stuff in stores. My recommendation is get both bottles. Make sure to do AutoShip so you get 13% off. One of the things you can do to immediately improve your dog's yeast infection is going from chicken or beef to a salmon-based kibble. I'm not saying this is the best solution. All I'm saying is this is definitely a step up from chicken, is going with salmon. And that's because of the omega-3s that are gonna be increased in this type of kibble. Omega-3 is one of the ingredients that you're gonna need in order to be able to fight this thing off. You know, on this channel, we're always looking for natural solutions. And one of the things we came up with is a yeast detox. It includes natural ingredients such as okra, includes papaya. You pretty much make this soup and you can give it to your dogs every single day. This prevents a sugar spike because sugar spikes actually are the main cause for yeast. They're the ones feeding them. Guys, if you go for these grain-free formulas, just keep in mind, they still may have things like chicken meal and the other types of beans that they use like garbanzo, green peas, or anything like that could also cause your dog to have allergies. Look at this one in particular. It even includes potatoes. Guys, quick recap. You learned that Malassezia and Candida are the two main culprits when it comes to a yeast infection, and that Malassezia is actually more common. We spoke about the animal or protein allergens. That one you're just gonna have to figure out whether through a test with your vet or you're just gonna have to be testing foods until you realize your dog's not allergic to the one protein. We spoke about plant-based allergens, in particular corn, wheat, soy, but others that we also included. Anytime you see the word meal after a particular protein like chicken meal, beef meal, lamb meal, fish meal, it doesn't matter. That's a low-grade protein and it can lead your dog to have a suppressed immune system. And that's the second main cause for yeast infection in dogs. We spoke about high carbohydrate ingredients in dog food that will actually cause inflammation in your dog's body. Now that we got the nutritional side of it, now that you know what it is that feeds the yeast, now we can capitalize on that and talk about other things like environmental factors, how to wash your dogs and with what, depending on which one of the two yeast infections they're carrying. Also, if there's oral medications that you can get online in order to combat it. We're gonna cover all that right here on this next video. And don't worry, we're also gonna have this playlist down here so that you can see all the videos that are included in this particular Get Rid of Yeast video series. It's been Raul from the Q. Be catching you on this next video.